Dexter New Blood has come to an end, and after finishing up episode 10, I'm going to share my thoughts after I recap this episode. Before I go any further, a quick spoiler warning. This video is riddled with spoilers from the finale, so if you haven't seen it yet, I would definitely recommend coming back to this later. Alright, I typically recap the finer details of each episode, but with this being the finale, I'm just going to stick to the major plot points, and after that I will share my thoughts on how I felt things wrapped up. So getting into the recap, after Angela finds the surgical screw at Dexter's cabin, he's arrested and taken in for questioning. Angela shares her evidence against Dexter in the Matt Caldwell murder, and Dexter simply says Kurt is setting him up. Angela later makes a phone call to Batista and informs him that there are some murders in Iron Lake that align to the Bay Harbor Butcher case. She asks Batista if he thought Dokes was really guilty, and Batista says that LaGuardia suspected Dexter Morgan, but that he died several years ago. Angela tells Batista to check his email, where he finds a present-day picture of Dexter. Batista pulls his files and says he'll be in Iron Lake in the morning. Angela pulls Dexter back in for questioning and informs him that she's certain he's a killer. She then brings up the ketamine and shows Dexter the evidence she has on the injection site on Miles, Jasper, and Elric. She informs Dexter that he's going to be tried in the murder case of Matt Caldwell, where he'll hopefully serve life without parole. He'll then be reunited with Batista and be extradited back to Florida to be put away as the true Bay Harbor Butcher. Dexter tells Angela to turn off the camera, and he says, "What if I told you that you were right about Kurt Caldwell?" He goes on to tell her that he was active for 25 years and where the bunker's located. This prompts Angela to head out to Kurt's property. While Angela's gone, Dexter asks Logan for water, and when he arrives, Dexter bangs him against the cell and tells him to give him the keys. Logan attempts to shoot Dexter, forcing Dexter to break his neck. Dexter gets the keys off his body, breaks out of jail, and calls Harrison and tells him to meet him in the woods. Angela enters Kurt's bunker and finds all the girls she's been looking for over the years, along with Molly Park. She has Teddy call for backup and rushes back to the station after realizing they hadn't heard from Logan in a while. Dexter meets Harrison in the woods and tries to convince him to leave Iron Lake together, but when Harrison learns that Dexter killed Logan, he became enraged at Dexter again. After some back and forth, Dexter refuses Harrison's idea to turn himself in and attempts to leave. After realizing Harrison has his rifle pointed at him, Dexter apologizes to Harrison for everything he did and that Harrison deserves a better life and father. He then tells Harrison to take off the safety and that this was the only way out. Harrison takes aim and fires a bullet into Dexter's chest, and Dexter's last words were, "You did good." Just like I tell every new subscriber that subscribes to this channel, helping us get towards our goal of 10,000 subscribers. You did good. Angela shows up and gives Harrison money and tells him to get out of town. Harrison then opens the letter Dexter wrote to Hannah, and we hear the words of the letter as Harrison leaves town. So as I reflect on this episode and the season as a whole, I can't help but feel dissatisfied, but not necessarily with the outcome. I'm more frustrated with the overall pacing and ever-shifting focus of the season. I feel like if they would have just chosen an arc and stuck to that, and worked on presenting a package around that desired outcome, it would have been a much more fulfilling experience for the audience, regardless of Dexter's outcome. The writers seemed far too interested in trying to misdirect the audience in an attempt to make for some unexpected shocker finale. I feel like a better approach would have been a season-long focus on Dexter and Harrison and their relationship, without all of the misdirection of Ed and Molly and 10 other gotcha plot points that really added nothing and ultimately took away from the overall story. So in regard to pacing, we spent almost the entire season with Harrison seemingly hating Dexter. Then in one episode, they bond over their similarities. That episode is really where the pacing started to become an issue for me. Harrison learns about his dad being a serial killer, joins him in a kill, and disposes of the body all in one day. That episode ends with them seemingly closer than ever before, and I believe it looks like Harrison is perfectly fine with who Dexter is and what he does. Then we move into this episode, and things are still looking good for the father and son duo. But then we get to the end, and first of all, Dexter could have just said, "Nah, Logan's fine, let's bounce," and I guess Harrison probably would have gone with him. But Dexter instead tells the truth, and Harrison just loses it and is, for whatever reason, perfectly comfortable just shooting his dad in the chest. Again, I'm not actually upset with how they chose to end this story. Many people saw this coming. I didn't think they would actually do it, but I'm fine with it. For me, it was just executed so poorly. I think a couple more episodes that allowed the progression of Harrison going from, man, I really like my dad, to, wow, he's a terrible person and I think I should kill him, probably would have had a better outcome and it would have felt better for us as an audience. In those couple of episodes, you could let Harrison see how dark and twisted Dexter really is. Let us watch Harrison progress into this disdain over a longer period than 3 minutes. Paint Dexter in such a dark light that even us as an audience are ready to watch his demise. But they weren't able to do things like this because, again, they spent so much time in this show doing all of those random plot points and misdirection attempts. Because of how rushed things were there at the end, I'm left wanting more, which is a real bummer for me because I was really enjoying this season. Well, I was enjoying everything except for Angela's detective work / Googling skills and the major plot hole with ketamine, M99, and all of that. But I could let that go if this would have wrapped up better. All right, so what's next? And the biggest question for me is, why did Angela have to give Harrison money and tell him to get out of town when he clearly could have just claimed self-defense, and I think he would have been fine? And the only sensible answer to this question is so that Harrison can ride off into the next Showtime spinoff where he's gonna... I don't know what he's gonna do, because obviously he's not okay with who Dexter was, so surely he's not gonna drive off to LA like Dexter recommended and start killing people. Right? Right? So overall, the finale was ultimately a letdown for me. It's a little bit different than Season 8's because for me, all of Season 8 was bad, and I wasn't super happy with the lumberjack thing, but now that I have this to compare with Season 8, it's a shame because I really, really enjoyed this overall season, and then the ending was just meh. I did a poll on my channel, and it seems like it's almost a 50-50 split. A lot of people enjoyed this ending. A lot of people enjoyed the lumberjack ending. So I'm very curious. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this ending. Thank you for being here. We'll see you in the next one.